Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Live Penguin TV. My name is Sky. I'm going to be your host for the evening, and we've got another new face tonight. We've got the lovely Rachel as our producer.
Hi guys, good evening. My name is Rachel and I will be monitoring all your questions tonight on YouTube and Facebook. If I don't get them tonight, we also have a team of rangers answering them for the next 24 hours. For those who are keen, yesterday we've got 3,284 penguins that came in at 8:10. That's a lot of penguins, guys. Hopefully.
Fantastically, yeah.
Thank you.
And hopefully, I think Rachel's going to say we will get a similar number tonight. It is the lovely Ebony counting again. She was the counter last night. She's the person who got us the 3,284 penguins last night. Can she do it again, everybody? Oof, we wait and see. Wish Ebony the best of luck. And I'm scanning across because I believe we might have penguins already. So let's have a little look. Oh, yes, there they are. So if you look into the middle of the screen there, let's see if I can zoom right in. I can see a whole lot of penguins swimming around in the shallows. So they have arrived, but they're deciding it's not time to walk just yet. So let's get a really good look at them swimming, because it's not often we get to see them so clearly swimming in the water there. So this is a small little raft of penguins. And these penguins are rafting in Bunurong country, in the oceans that are, governed by the traditional custodians, the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation. I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge them as the true custodians of this land that we're on here. Malau, Phillip Island, in Victoria, in Australia, the home of the little penguin. And we've got 32,000 of these little penguins here on Malau, on Phillip Island. Oh, you see them duck underwater as that wave came in, everybody. I was a bit nervous they were going to crash into the rocks, but we shouldn't be too worried because these guys are very used to being in the water. Oh, they're standing up. They spend 80% of their life in the water and only 20% of their life on land. So they are really fluent in the water. So they're not really likely to be hurt by these rocks. They're probably going to do a quick dart across to avoid getting slammed on the rocks. They're more savvy. They're more savvy than they look. Is that a bit mean? Perhaps. They don't look particularly like they're clever animals, do they? They're very, very cute, though. And they're cleverer than they might seem on the outside. In fact, they're fantastic at finding their way. So one question that we got last night from one of our top fans, her name is Kate, and she asked if we ever had any random penguins turn up here at the penguin parade, like any other penguins. And yeah, in Australia last year, we had a Fiordland penguin turn up. Now, they should be living over in New Zealand. They shouldn't be anywhere around Australia, but this one got terribly, terribly lost, I think. So it turned up on the coast of Australia, and it got taken to Melbourne Zoo and was cared for at Melbourne Zoo for a little while, and then we took it to our marine hospital. Oh, they're swimming back. Look at them go. Then we looked after them at our marine hospital, which you can support by supporting our Penguin Foundation. If you donate to the Penguin Foundation, part of the money that you give will go to our wildlife hospital, and that was the hospital that we cared for this Fiordland penguin. It was a bit worse for wear when we got it because, of course, it got so lost, the poor thing. And so we took it in, cared for it, and then we released it right here on this beach, Summerland Beach, for it to find its way home. So, yes, this story started with they're smarter than they might seem because, yes, this Fiordland penguin was expected to find its way home all the way from here in Australia back to its home in New Zealand. So isn't that cool? So there's the answer to your question if you're watching tonight, Kate. Sometimes, yes, we do get random penguins turning up here in Australia. That should not be here. Then another question that we got last night, which is a similar, I was just checking to see if there's any across here. There's not, so let's keep watching these little ones. Another question that we got last night from another top fan. Where are you, penguins? Oh, it's a Pacific gull. Oh, no, everybody. Okay, so you know how we're always telling you about there's predators that might like to eat a penguin? Well, this is one of those predators. Am I correct? Yep, there we go. That's a Pacific gull, everybody. So that is a type of bird that would love to eat a penguin. I would say that is why we are struggling to see any penguins there at the moment. I reckon they have figured out that this is not a good place to be and they have swum away. Yep, no sign of them at the moment. Oh, yeah, no, there's one. Swim away, you little guys. What are you doing? There's a Pacific gull right there. Oh, this is very tense television, everybody. Yeah, so we tell you every night that they're waiting till later in the night so that they can avoid birds of prey and predatory birds. And a predatory bird, an example of a predatory bird is a Pacific gull, and this is one of those Pacific gulls. So it hasn't got a penguin just yet, thank goodness. That's not something I personally want to see. But it's certainly lurking nearby. Rachel, do you think we've seen anything like this on the live stream before? Have we seen it?
This is the first time, isn't it? That's lucky.
Oh, lucky for the viewers, hopefully, as long as it doesn't go awfully wrong. Although I guess in fairness, the Pacific gull does need to eat. Are you like me, everybody in the comments? Are you like me when you watch a David Attenborough program that you sort of go for the animal that's the prey, the animal that's getting chased? You go for them and you're like, I hope you evade the lion. I hope you're safe. And then at the end, maybe they win. And then David Attenborough says something like, and now that mother won't be able to feed her cubs. And then all of a sudden you feel really sad. That's how I feel. But I think today I do think I'm on the team of the penguin today. I don't want to see this penguin. Go eat something else, Pacific gull. Yeah, and the penguins have got the right idea. They're swimming away, but stay in the water, you silly things. Now's not a good time. They're still awake. Oh, this is a bit stressful. All right, let's just watch these penguins and hope for the best. So I was telling you about how they're good at finding their way. And another question that we got last night was from another top fan. Her name's Rhonda. And she said when the chicks hatched and they finally go out for the first time, they go out swimming, do they go out and get some fish and then come back to the burrow that they were born in? And the answer to that is no, not really. So these penguins are chicks, when they finally go out and find their independence and go out for the first time, they're likely to stay away for a very long time. In fact, the penguins have a good year, a gap year, let's say, where they spend a good gap year exploring, going quite far. Oh, there goes the Pacific gull flying away. I think our penguins might be safe. Fantastic. I think it's gone. Let's just double check if that was another bird. If it's still there. No, it looks like it's flown away. Good. Live to see another day, penguins. I think we're all collectively breathing a sigh of relief. That's not what I wanted for my Thursday night. Much prefer to see these guys safely waddling across the beach. But anyway, we're talking about penguin gap years. I'm just trying to find where these penguins have gone. I think they scattered a little bit with that Pacific gull flying around. Oh, yes, they're all scattered through the water there. There we go. So penguin gap years. So they go out exploring. Some of them go as far as South Australia in their exploration, and they'll spend long stretches out at sea. When it is finally time to come back to the burrow, and that's usually around the time that they go through a catastrophic molt where they get rid of all their feathers, it's usually about a year after they were hatched, they come back to within 50 metres of where they hatched, within 50 metres. So not necessarily, or not the same burrow that they were born in, but close by. They come back to the same hood, as T would say. Ranger T. So that is the answer to your question, top fan Rhonda. Thanks for asking. And yes, penguins are incredibly good at finding their way back over long distances. Oh, where's our penguins gone? Okay, so we've got a few. Yeah, they're really scattered after that Pacific gull. They're really scattered. I can see a few sort of in the middle there, a few off to the left. We need them to reform into their raft to come on in. So the way it happens, for those of you who haven't watched before, the way it works is our penguins spend most of the day out at sea by themselves, and at night time they come together out in the bay here in Summerland Bay, and they find each other by calling to one another, and they make what we call a hucking noise, and it sounds like this. And they're saying to each other, where are you, penguin buddies? Let's go in together because there's predators like we've seen tonight. There are predators that are around, and they want to minimize their chance of being the penguin that gets eaten. So the more penguins there are, the better the odds are in their favor, I guess. So what we see is they raft together in these rafts, yes. And so that's just really a whole lot of penguins together with their heads above the water, calling to one another and swimming in together. And then they wait till sunset. They wait till it's dark, exactly for why we've seen, because while it's still light, there might be predatory animals around. There might be swamp harriers. There might be Pacific gulls. There might be birds that want to eat them still awake. But generally, I think we saw that Pacific gull go off to bed. Generally, after sunset, they're not around anymore. So that's why they wait until sunset. And they raft in together, they swim in together in these groups, and then they cross the beach in these groups. And that's why we see that lovely parading motion that we talk about. We call it the penguin parade. The penguins are on parade when they all march in together. And they're going to cross this beach. It's really rocky at the moment. I'd say the weather and the storms and the rain have caused a lot of our sand to leave the beach. We've got one penguin there. I've just lost all these other penguins. I'm sure you all at home can see them, but I can't. There's a little one in the middle there. I can see it running back to the beach. It's all by itself. It's going, no, I don't want to be by myself. Get me back to the water. Look at it go. Yep, smart choice, little one. Get back to the water. Find your raft and come back. Try again a little bit later. There we go, getting swept out by the current. Yep, so that's what the penguin parade is. They're going to cross this rocky beach, and they're going to head back to their burrows. And they're seeing lots of penguins crossing to their burrows at the moment. 3,284 penguins last night. That is not a normal amount of penguins. That is a huge number of penguins, and that tells us it is breeding season. The penguins have got places to be. They've got things to come back for. They've got perhaps eggs to take their turn looking after, or chicks to take their turn feeding and looking after as well. So yes, we're in the middle of the breeding season at the moment, so big numbers of penguins. Usually, throughout the winter as well, if we even get just a few hundred penguins, that's a really good night. So 3,000 is just like a brain exploding, fantastic kind of numbers. Will we get similar tonight? I don't know. But yeah, we're here at the Penguin Parade, and that's Phillip Island Nature Parks. That's who we are. We look after the Penguin Parade. We look after a lot of the natural areas here on Phillip Island. We look after the Koala Conservation Reserve, where we've got some koalas that got caught up in the bushfires that we're hoping to release really in the next few weeks, actually. We're hoping to get them out hopefully within the month of November. We also look after Churchill Island Heritage Farm. We've got penguins right in the middle. They've got their courage back and they've come back now that pesky Pacific gull has left. And yet we do a lot of great work in conservation, research and education. And we are, oh, no, they're fleeing back again. They are certainly skittish tonight. They are certainly... I think that Pacific gull has really spooked them. So we might have a bit of a later start time tonight. There's actually 2 Pacific gulls. Oh, we've just heard that there's actually 2 Pacific gulls just in the area. Yep, 2 Pacific gulls in the area. So we might get a bit of a later start time tonight, because if those penguins are aware of these Pacific gulls, well, then they're very silly to come out of the water. Stay in the water if there's Pacific gulls, please. We don't want anything grisly tonight. This is meant to be wholesome. This is meant to be feel good. Ooh. Oh gosh, a bit of suspense tonight. Makes me very nervous indeed. So yeah, it might be a bit of a later start time tonight. Last night they crossed the beach at 8:10, or they were already halfway across the beach at 8:10. That's at about in 1 minute from now. Well, these penguins will be very silly if they cross the beach anytime soon. So I might be holding on for a little bit longer. Yeah, so we're Phillip Island Nature Parks, and we are not-for-profit. We're a conservation organisation. So yeah, once again, if you do want to support us, you can donate to the Penguin Foundation. Adopt a penguin. It doesn't mean you get to take one home. It does mean that you symbolically adopt one. You wouldn't want to take one home. They stink. They poo. They've got projectile poo, so it's not even just that they have smelly, slimy, fish-smelling poo. They actually projectile shoot it out of their bottoms. And that's so that they keep their burrow nice and tidy. Their burrows can be quite long. So what they'll do when they, well, as we've said, when there's Pacific gulls out during the day, they don't want to come out of their burrow if they're in the burrow during the day. But they also don't want to poo when they sleep. Clever. So what they do is they turn around inside their burrow, they face their bottom towards the opening of the burrow, and they shoot their poo outside. So they've got very high velocity poo, projectile poo. So for that reason, you wouldn't want one as a pet unless you're a big fan of projectile poo. But you can symbolically adopt one. You get all sorts of, if you become a penguin pal, you get a little toy, you get little certificates, all sorts of things. So have a look in the Penguin Foundation and see if there's somebody in your life that you'd like to adopt a penguin or become a penguin pal for. Oh, they're running again. But not all of them are running. Can you see that? So some of them are sticking the course. The others are fleeing back. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The brave penguins are not the penguins that you expect to see surviving. It is a good, if you are a sensible penguin, you want to be easily spooked. You don't want to be a brave penguin because the brave penguin is the one that takes off when it's a bit too early and there's still Pacific gulls around. A brave penguin is the one that thinks it'll be fine, but until it's not. Whereas the ones who get spooked get back into the water are nice and safe. So it pays as a penguin to be a little bit more timid. But yep, these guys at the front are not being put off by whatever the ones at the back were. They are on a mission. They are on their way, hopping over these rocks. In the back, the penguins behind are regrouping and perhaps thinking about making another dash for it. But yep, they're certainly a little bit more spooked tonight. Those Pacific gulls have really put them off. Let's zoom out a little bit. So we've really got to watch out for those white bellies. The white bellies is going to be the best way to spot these penguins as they climb over the rocks. It is a little bit tough to see since it is so dark and rocky, but they're certainly on their way. And I imagine we'll get a start to the count any minute now. It looks like they're about halfway across the beach. I'm getting a nod. Fantastic. Yep, they're halfway across the beach. The penguin count has started. Ebony is off and racing after a big night of 3,284 penguins last night. She's a sucker for punishment. She's come to do it again, and hopefully she'll get similar numbers. All right, while we watch these penguins crossing the beach, let's get a question from the comments. Rachel, what are the audience at home wondering?
Okay, we've got James and MK Ellie asking, have there been any cases of a powerful owl getting taken by taking a little penguin?
Powerful owl? Not that I know of. How about you, Rachel? Do you know?
Not that I know of. If there's any cases, I would say it's very, very rare.
Yeah, very rare. That sounds about right to me. Yep. We do have, as we've said, we do have other birds that will take these penguins, Pacific gulls, swamp harriers, and big birds of prey, but powerful owl, not that I've heard of. Great question, though. Thanks for that. And keep coming with more questions as the night goes on. So it's a shorter beach than last night. The tide is slightly higher, which makes the journey a little bit easier for our little penguins tonight. Because they've got a little bit less far to walk. That dangerous dash is a little bit less dangerous, at least in terms of length, if not in terms of predators tonight. And some of these penguins will be walking 2 kilometres to their burrows tonight. 2 kilometres. Now, 2 kilometres for me is quite a long way, honestly, but these penguins are only 33 centimetres tall. These are the little penguins. Little by name, little by nature, 33 centimetres tall. Imagine being 33 centimetres tall and walking 2 kilometres. My goodness, it would be tough. So they're really hardy little things, and yet some of them have got a long journey. Of course, some of them do not have a long journey tonight. Some of them have got beachfront mansions, and they live right on the edge of the colony. Some of them are pretty much going to get to these bushes that we can see in front of us here and be home already. So there's all sorts of different penguin real estate, I guess. But remember I told you that they'll go back to within 50 metres of where they hatched generally. So if you were hatched right on the edge of the beach here, you're likely to come back and build yourself a burrow or find yourself a burrow within that area, nice and close to the beach. So that means if you've spent your whole life since you were hatched doing that 2-kilometre journey, then when you come back and find your own burrows, yep, you're going to be continuing to do that 2-kilometre journey. It's institutionalised. It's sort of in them. All right, so these ones seem to have made it safe. Oh gosh, one's running back. No, it's too far to run back to the, can you see that one sort of running back? Are you running all the way back to the ocean? You were there. What are you doing? Can everyone see that one in the back? What's it doing? It was home. It's much too far to run all the way back. Oh goodness. All right, so these guys have made it. I can see one's already beginning preening now. But usually these first ones head right on their way. Usually if they have made that dangerous dash early in the night, they're usually not stopping for anything or anyone, and no preening rocks are going to stop them getting to wherever it is they want to be tonight. Off to their chicks to feed. Oh, yep, so they're into the water. And they're swimming under our Penguins Plus stand. There they go. And this one's going across the puddle. Oh gosh, they're going faster than I can follow. And off this side there. Now, I do just want to cast my eye up the hill because we have had some chicks recently. And sometimes by now, let me just zoom out. Sometimes by now they might be poking their heads out of their burrows. So let me just zoom out so I can find them. Where are you? Might need to zoom right out so we can get my bearings. Okay, a bit further across than I thought. Can we see any chicks out there yet? What are you? Oh, we've got some penguins on the highway above me, but I just want to bring my eyes down here. What have we got here? Oh, we've got a chick. Fantastic. So here you can see a little penguin chick. Now, the reason I can tell it's a chick is because it's quite fluffy across this area here. Can you see that it's not like the other penguins? It's not just completely sleek and blue, sort of blue and white like the other penguins. No, it's got a fluffy collar almost. Those are its fluffy chick feathers. Oh, and it's got a sibling. Can you see just poking out, sort of at chest height? I can see another little head poking out. That is the sibling. So we told you before that the penguins will have 2 eggs at a time. 2 eggs at a time. So these are the 2 eggs that have hatched and grown quite significantly, pretty quickly. That when they are eggs, they are the size of a small chicken egg, about 55 grams, but they balloon to full size. Oh, yep, there they go. There's the 2 of them. They balloon to full size really quite quickly, within just a couple of weeks. So these would be 5 weeks old, 6 weeks old. It's hard for me to tell. That's my best guess, though, around that sort of point. So still got the fluffy feathers, not ready to go out into the ocean because they need to have waterproof feathers before they're ready for that. Still getting looked after by mum and dad, but geez, mum and dad are doing a good job of looking after these 2. These are some fat little chicks, and that's a compliment because they're going to survive much better in the wild if they are nice and chunky. Any other chicks to see? No. All right, but let's cast our eyes back to the beach because I have a feeling that we might be seeing some big rafts by now. So let's have a little bit of a look. See if some more penguins have got the courage to cross the beach yet. Oh, yeah, no, so not so many. I was imagining that I would cross here and we would just see a swarm of penguins crossing the beach. But at the moment, I can see just a few white bellies, not so many. Oh, we have got what looks like a shell gritter above us. Keep your eye in the top camera because I think I saw a penguin going the wrong way. Oh, yes, we've got one. Let's see if I can get there before it goes away. No, I think we're just going to miss it. Yeah, there it goes, going the opposite way. Now, we're not seeing too many shell gritters at the moment. And what I mean when I say shell gritters is penguins going the opposite way to the rest of the crowd. And these are penguins that have got eggs in their belly and are just about to lay their eggs. They're really within only a few days of not giving birth, but laying those eggs and getting into that egg caring process, because that is the point where they're building the outside of the shell. When they're building the shell of the egg, they need extra calcium in their body to provide the calcium for that outside of the egg. So what these soon-to-be mums do is that they walk the opposite direction. They've been staying all day inside the colony, and they walk down to the beach at night time to nibble on shells, because shells have got, of course, lots and lots of calcium, and it gives them that extra calcium boost. It's like sort of having pregnancy cravings, or it's like taking a pregnancy supplement. It's getting those extra nutrients that they need to finish off the job, to get those eggs nice and ready to be laid. And so we're not seeing so many of those at the moment, because a lot of our penguin parents are looking after chicks at this point. Breeding season started sort of in August, and so definitely we're now at the point where the babies, the chicks have hatched and are being looked after. Oh, is this penguins arriving? Yes, it is. Here we go. We've got a big raft arriving. Just in the nick of time, because it's getting very dark out there. So they've certainly been put off tonight, I'd say, these penguins. Those Pacific gulls have certainly spooked them a little bit. We're seeing bigger numbers now a little bit later in the count. Oh, this is a huge raft. Thoughts and prayers to Ebony, our penguin counter, who's going to have to figure out how many penguins are there. And yeah, it's a tough ask with all of these rocks that they've got across. So as we watch this huge raft arrive, almost completely zoomed out, trying to fit all these guys in the screen. Let's get another question. Rachel, have you got any questions?
Yeah, of course. We've got Lily really wanting to know, how old do a penguin live for?
Lily, good question. So how old do penguins live? Well, it's a bit of a complicated question. The oldest penguin that we've had here at Phillip Island Nature Parks at the Penguin Parade was almost 26 years old. So if you're really lucky as a penguin, you might make it to 26 years old. But that is pretty uncommon. It's not very usual for a penguin to make it to 26 years old. More often, they make it into their teens if they make it through their first few years. The problem is that first year, that penguin gap year where they go out exploring, it is a tough year. They're all by themselves. They've got to figure out how to swim. They've got to figure out how to fish. They've got to figure out how to find their way around the ocean. They've got to figure out how to avoid predators like Pacific gulls or like seals and things like this. So unfortunately, a lot of them don't make it in that first year. That brings the average age of our penguins down to about 7 years old. But if they make it through that first year or the first few years, they're likely to make it into their teens. So it's not a simple answer. The average is 7, the oldest is 26, but you could expect that a healthy penguin who's doing well could make it into their teens. Great question, Lily. Thanks for asking. As we watch these masses of penguins start to jump over these rocks and find their way in, and they are just spreading right out, making it really difficult for poor Ebony here. So Ebony is our, you've got a number? 280. Is that this one or the, oh gosh. So Ebony has counted this group as 280. What did you guys all guess? Is that about what you got? So I think she did well to count them in a tight group before they all spread out, because once they start spreading out, it becomes really, really tough work. Yeah, I was saying it last night, when it's a sort of a flat sandy beach, sometimes you just sort of see them in a straight line, essentially, in maybe pairs, almost like school children perhaps, and it's easy to count, just go 2, 4, 6, 8, sort of like that. On a night like tonight, no, it's just chaos down there, absolute chaos. They're just spreading right across these rocks, making it really difficult. I have to keep zooming out just to keep them all in frame. They're just scattering absolutely everywhere, making it really tough for poor Ebony to find them. But I reckon in about 5 minutes we're going to have fantastic footage of these penguins, all of these penguins swarming the Penguin Highway. We've got a few of them coming above me now, but I do want to... we'll cut to it. We'll cut to these little penguins walking along the highway. Let's see what they've got for us. Waddling from side to side. Big bellies on show, full of fish, ready to feed their chicks. They will look after their chicks for 8 to 10 weeks. So it's about 8 to 10 weeks that it takes for those chicks to get rid of all those fluffy, downy feathers and be waterproof and able to fend for themselves out in the wild. 8 to 10 weeks. If those chicks are really lucky, they will have one parent that stays with them throughout the day, all through those 8 to 10 weeks, while the other goes out to fish, and they'll take turns. So if there's really good fish supplies nearby, yep, one parent will stay nearby. Once again, Ranger T calls them helicopter parents if they've got one that sticks by them a lot, over and over and over again. Whereas more likely, we have any time from the first 2 to 4 weeks up until the end of the 8 to 10 weeks, one of those or both of those parents will start to leave during the day. We call that the post-guard stage, where they're left alone by themselves during the day. And that tends to happen if the food's a little bit further away, but it is probably a more normal situation as far as I understand. It's a little bit less common to have one parent stay with the chicks all through the day, all through that chick rearing stage. However, it does usually result in really healthy chicks. So if the parents can afford to do it, it's a really good strategy to make sure that their penguin babies make it. So some of these penguins, after a tough cross of the beach, are using that little stream to get themselves up onto these rocks. Oh, it is chaotic out there tonight. There's just sort of penguins coming from every direction. They're spread out right across the beach. It looks like we might have got more arriving, but it is, some more arriving on the edge of the water. It's looking like another big night for Ebony tonight. I think she's not going to have a break from counting. And do keep in mind that this is not the only stream of penguins that she is counting tonight. She has got 5 in total that she needs to be watching. But last night, I think there was over 2,000 of the 3,000 came up this particular pathway. So that is why we've got the camera on this one, because there's stacks of penguins arriving on this highway here, on near our Penguins Plus boardwalk. So let's get some close-ups of these penguins. Let's get a good look at them as they're stopping on these preening rocks, making sure their feathers are still waterproof. A healthy penguin should not have water touching their skin. So they've got to keep those feathers in good condition. Yeah, there we go. And we've got penguins coming down the Penguin Highway. So let's watch them as they waddle. And as we watch them waddle, let's get another question. Rachel.
Thank you, Sky. We've got Annette asking, how long does it take for that eggs to hatch?
Oh, great question, Annette. How long does it take for their eggs to hatch? It takes 35 days, more or less. So they will lay one egg one day, and then they'll usually lay their second egg 24 to 48 hours later. Then 35 days, more or less, from that from when that first egg is laid, that first baby or chick will hatch, and 24 to 48 hours later, that second egg will hatch. So, 5 weeks, 35 days is how long it takes for those eggs to hatch. So those parents are sitting on those eggs for 5 weeks. Seems like a long time, but I guess it's pretty short compared to a human pregnancy, isn't it? So it's a lot less. And then they've only got 10 weeks that they need to look after their little penguin chicks for. And then they just leave. They don't actually they don't teach them to fish. I'm going to go back to the highway because we've got more coming again. They don't teach them to fish. They don't teach them where the ocean is. They don't teach them how to avoid predators. None of those things are passed from parent to child through teaching. They don't sort of hold flippers as they walk on down to the ocean for the first time and go, here you are, my son, my daughter. This is the ocean. This is where you're going to spend 80% of your life. No, they don't. They just stop feeding them. One day they go, yep, you're good. I'm going to stop coming back. And so I sort of imagine that these poor chicks are probably sitting there waiting for their parents to turn up, and they don't, and then they don't, and then they still don't, and eventually they go, right, well, I'm hungry. I guess I better sort myself out. All right, we've only got couple of minutes left. I'm going to get one more question from the audience, and then we're going to have to say goodnight to everybody. So really enjoy these last few penguins. What have we got, Rachel?
Yeah, we have MK, Ali, and Nick asking, can the penguins have twins?
Oh, can the penguins have twins? Well, they lay separate eggs. So no, not really. There's two separate eggs. They're not really twins. However, they do have these eggs at the same time. So I guess it's almost like fraternal twins, isn't it? Yeah, but not like identical twins. They sort of lay these eggs almost at the same time, but no, we never see twin penguins. Oops, sorry, I've got myself distracted. I need to hide these penguins. So let's have one last look to see if we can see any more chick action. If we're lucky, we might even see chicks being fed, which is fantastic to see, because it is what you see is parents vomiting into their babies' mouths. It's quite disturbing. Let's see if we can see anything. So this looks like two other chicks. They're looking almost like adults, but we wonder if we'll see them harassing any adults as they come on by. Yep, there's lots of poo around. You know that there's chicks nearby when there's lots and lots of poo nearby. No, they're just waiting. So let's head on down the hill. Let's see if anything's going on with these guys down the hill. No, they're still just waiting in the cover of the bushes there. No, we'll just have to try again another night tonight. All right, so thank you so much for watching, everybody. Do remember that if you'd like to support the Penguin Foundation, the link is in the description. We appreciate any donations that you can give us. Become a Penguin Pal, adopt a penguin, buy it for somebody that you love, that you know loves penguins. It's a good cause and a great present. Anything else I need to say before we go, Rachel?
No, I think we're good. We've covered everything.
Wonderful. All right. So thanks for watching us tonight, everybody. You'll have to tune in tomorrow night to see how many penguins we had tonight. Give Rachel all your love in the comments for her first night being a producer tonight. And look, we'll see you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.